Hey, what's up, guys? I hope you're enjoying the Be the Difference podcast. If you are, I got a huge favor to ask. Go on to Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star review for us. It helps us immensely with algorithms and growth because we grow completely by word of mouth, organically. That's why there are no ads. Also, feel free to share this content with somebody you think might get value out of it. Last, if you don't know, I also do coaching to help people become the best version of themselves, starting with physical fitness, going all the way through mindset, sales, and leadership. If you're interested in learning more, there's going to be a link in the description of the podcast. You can schedule a time. It's a free assessment. All I'm going to do is have a conversation with you and see if I can even help you. I look forward to speaking to all of you. Continue to enjoy the podcast, and remember to always be the difference. What's up, everybody? This is Greg with Delta, and this is the Be the Difference podcast. This podcast is all about making you a better person in your life and in your business with coaching on sales, leadership, mindset, marketing, everything under the sun when it comes to being an entrepreneur, and we bring on guest speakers. Today, I got the honor and pleasure of welcoming. This guy's excited. I'm excited too. I'm gonna see if I can pronounce your name right, Mr. Nicky Billou.
Billou.
Not, oh man,
Tom Billou. That's Tom Billou, man. You're thinking of him, but he spells it different.
Yeah, no, Billou. So Nicky and I had a little conversation before we started recording, and this is going to be a phenomenal podcast. I'm excited. I'm real excited. So for those of you that don't know Nicky Billou is AKA the Millionaire Maker, is the #1 international best-selling author of 8 books, including Finish Line Thinking, How to Think and Win Like a Champion, The Thought Leader's Journey, A Fable of Life, The Power of Connecting, How to Activate Profitable Relationships by Serving Your Network, and How to Create $1 million a year income, The Priceless Guide for Insurance Agents, Professional Salespeople, and anyone with a big dream. He has read over 4,000 books in genres from biography, history, fictional literature, self-help, health and fitness, poetry, business, sales, and spirituality and religion. Nicky is the host of the #1 podcast in the world for thought leadership, The Thought Leader Revolution, featuring guests like Dr. Ken Blanchard, John Maxwell, and Jack Canfield. He is an in-demand and highly inspirational speaker to corporate audiences such as RBC, Lululemon, Royal LePage, and Torstar Media. He is an advisor and confidant to some of the most successful and dynamic entrepreneurs in Canada. He is the founder of eCircle Academy, where he runs a year-long mastermind and educational program working with coaches, consultants, corporate trainers, clinic owners, realtors, mortgage brokers, and other service-based entrepreneurs, positioning them as authorities in their niche. He is the creator of the Thought Leader, Heart Leader TM designation. He and his team have helped over 80 entrepreneurs add 6 to 8 figures to their annual income. Nicky, let's go, bro. I'm excited.
Great. Thanks for having me on the show, man. I'm honored. I'm pumped. I'm juiced. I'm jacked. Let's roll.
Let's roll, bro. So, so before we start recording, you know, I had read a little bit of his bio, and I was like, hey man, this is an insurance agent podcast. He was like, what? I didn't even know. So he's talking about his book. And so I think we're just going to dig into that and jump in and talk about the experience of writing that book, everything that the book entails. Kind of, you know, obviously we want you to go buy the book. Let's be real. But you know what the book entails, lessons he learned, because he wrote it with Perry Wong, which is an insurance agent in the industry, and he's been doing, you said, making over $1 million a year for the past 7 years.
7 years straight, bro.
7 years straight. So, and these are his tactics, his strategies, what to apply, how to apply it. There we go. There we go.
There it is, man. This book, brother, is like, this is the shit diggity, man. If you're in the insurance business and you believe in doing what you do because you got a big heart, you want to make a difference for people, and you want to make big income for yourself and your family, first of all, you need to pick up a copy of this book. Go on Amazon. Do not pass go right away. Pick up a copy of this book for under $50, under $30, depending on which version of this you end up buying. You're going to get from me, top coach that has helped make 80 people 6 to 9 figures a year, and an insurance agent that's done $1 million a year for 7 years straight, the exact blueprint on how to do it. And I got to tell you, man, if you're in business and you don't want to make at least $1 million a year, that's crazy. Hopefully you do. And if you do, then race, buy this book.
Dude, I'm actually excited. I'm going to go buy it.
You should.
I'm an avid reader. I haven't read 4,000 books, but I read every day. And I started this back in 2021 when I started reading every day, and I got, I started realizing that, hey, sales is about professional or personal development. It really is 100%. You have to be reading daily. You got to be feeding your mind. You got to be doing good habits, creating disciplined action, etc. And I started reading daily in 2021. And I think that was the first year that I actually read a book a month. That was like 12 books that I read. But in 2022, I increased it even more. And I read about 20 books in 2022. So far this year, I've already read 10 books. So I'm just increasing my reading every single year. And it's a game changer.
So I'm gonna tell you something. In addition to the business work I do, I run a men's organization called the Sovereign Man, sovereignman.ca. And we run a twice monthly program. And it's called Sovereign Circle. And we have a curriculum. And in there's a reading list. You're required to read a minimum of a book a month. There's a book of the month, theme of the month. And we've got killer books on there. We've had books like Stephen Arnio's Hard Times Create Strong Men, Tim Grover's Winning.
That's a good book. Tim Grover's been phenomenal.
Tim Grover's good. But bro, he can't hold a candle to Stephen Arnio. Not a candle. Not a candle. Stephen Arnio, Hard Times Create Strong. If you're a man and you're a woman who loves men and you have not read Hard Times Create Strong Men, do not pass go. Go pick it up. And it's an incredible book. Now, you can buy it on Amazon as a audio book. I think they stopped selling the hard copy book, but his website, Stephen Arnio, you can buy it over there as a hard copy book. And it's very important to read. The man who runs the group with me runs a landscape architecture company. His name is Rob Arpa. We call each other by our last names in order to honor our fathers, okay? So Arpa is 46 years old. Prior to last year, he had not read one book since high school. Not one.
That's actually the norm to be. Right. It's terrible, but
last year he read 12 books because he had to read a book a month.
Yeah.
So, and he said that was a game changer for him to do that. He made more money last year than he's ever made before. More money.
Yeah.
And right now he's in a place where he's turning business away because he doesn't have enough people to deliver all the work. Readers are leaders.
Yeah.
And leaders are readers. That's how it is.
It is. I tell it to my agents all the time. I actually had a conversation. Side note, I have one of my agency owners, Joey. He was just like, dude, I hate reading, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, bro, you don't like this for you. If you want to scale, you don't have an option. You got to read. And he was just like, no, man, just tell me what I got. Dude, what you get from reading is so much more than me just telling you. It's completely different. It grows your conceptualization skills. It grows your creativity. It grows your patience, your focus. There's all these different things that it does when you actually physically read. He was like, well, just listen to an audiobook. No, you need to physically read it. Now, I'm not saying I'm not against audiobooks, but you need to physically read every single day because it works your mind differently. And so I kept telling him,
look behind me.
Yeah. Dude, that's a lot of books.
And that is like maybe 20% of the books in my house.
Yeah, I keep telling him. And so finally he did it. And it took him a while. And I was like, dude, you want to be a leader? Dude, leaders are readers. There's no getting around it. You have to do it.
So listen,
finally, he started doing it.
Patrick Bet David of Valuetainment and the PHP agency, okay?
Yep.
I'm a fellow Iranian Assyrian Christian like him. We are the exact same ethnicity, him and I. All right. Patrick Bet David reads, and I'm telling you, what I teach people to do is I teach CEOs how to be the Patrick Bet David of their industry. That's what I teach them how to do. I teach them how to get their branding right. I teach them how to get their book out there because they need their own book out there. I teach them how to get their messaging right. I teach them how to put the right content out there. And Patrick Bet David went from 200 agents to 37,000 agents in 10 years. And he went from a $2 million valuation to just selling his company in July of last year for $400 million. $400 million.
Yeah. So
that's how it is.
His book, Your Next 5 Moves, is fantastic.
That was on our list last year. The men read it. The men read that book. It was on the list.
Great book.
There you go.
Great book.
Phenomenal book. So let's talk about how to create $1 million a year income. Okay.
Let's talk about this.
So the first thing, you know what? Before we get into this, maybe they should just get to know me just a little bit more. So let me just
Introduce yourself. Tell the nitty gritty.
All right. So I'm actually originally an immigrant from the Middle East. I'm a Christian from Iran. When I was 11 years old, the Islamic Revolution happened in Iran, and that turned my world upside down. My late father, God rest his soul, you could see the writing on the wall. This wasn't going to be a great place to raise his Christian family. So what did Dad do? Dad made a plan. He executed. He got us out of Iran. He settled us eventually where I now live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Okay. And that, my friend, that at the time was horrible for me. I didn't want to leave my home. I didn't want to leave my friends. I was 11. Yeah. But in retrospect, it was the greatest thing my dad could have ever done. He took our family's legacy, took us from tyranny to freedom. And I became a champion for freedom. Freedom, free expression, free enterprise. It's what it's all about. And I know there's a lot of people these days that are just brainwashed going, oh my God, America, oh my God, it's so oppressive, so racist, so sexist. And I'm like, I'm not pretending it's perfect here, but are you freaking kidding me? This is the greatest, freest place in the history of the world. You're lucky to be here. Try saying that crap in Iran. They'll hang you by your toes, torture you, kill you, throw you down a deep, dark hole and no one will ever find you. And that's how it is in most of the world, bro. We're fortunate to live in freedom. We all need to appreciate what we have. We cannot let these idiots try to divide us and tell us that, no, this is terrible. It's not. It's not perfect, but it's amazing. It's the best it's ever been, the best in the world. And so freedom is what got my father interested in entrepreneurship. And my father is the greatest man I ever knew. Greg, you knew my dad. You were looking for work. He'd work the phones and get you a job. You knew my dad. You were looking to start a business. He'd meet with you. He'd sit down with you. He'd advise you. He'd get you other advisors. He'd get you access to capital. He'd get you going. You knew my dad. You tried to buy a car, a house, an apartment. You didn't quite have enough money. He'd top you up so you could buy that car, that house, or that apartment. Who does that? Greg, the late great Napoleon Billou. That's who. Why? First, he's a Christian, a devout Christian. And he believed he'd been blessed by God Almighty. And it was his duty to share those blessings with others. Secondly, he did it because he could. He was rich. He had money. And Hollywood likes to denigrate the rich and the entrepreneur and say, oh my God, they're the worst people in the world. They're wrong. Entrepreneurs are the world's best people. Our best people go into entrepreneurship. They're the ones who have courage to want to lift everybody else up with them. They believe in something bigger than themselves. They want to make the world a better place. Yeah. I salute every entrepreneur alive. And I do what I do to help them be more successful. I got a vision for 1 billion millionaires. I got another vision for 1 million billionaires. Greg, you should be a billionaire. Do you agree with me? You should be a billionaire. 1,000%. Greg, I want to make you a billionaire. I've never made a guy a billionaire, but I've made a guy worth 100 million before. So I figure it's just one more zero.
It's just one more zero.
One more zero, Greg. That's all. I made a guy $100 million net worth. So what the hell, Greg? You're going to be my first billionaire. You with me? Let's go get it done. Let's go get it done. Let's make you my first billionaire. That's what it's all about, man. And we've got to make people successful. A lot of people get into business. I want to serve the entrepreneur. I believe in the entrepreneur. A lot of entrepreneurs, man, they get a little worried, I know how to do what I do, but I don't know business. I don't know marketing, selling, structure, systems, processes, financial statements. I don't know exit strategies. Don't worry. Nicky is here. Father energy. I bring the father energy. I love you, but I'm going to kick your ass. Remember at the beginning, I told you I'm not feeling well? And you said, you want to change? I said, no, Greg, I'm a man. I'm a man. Don't try to treat me like anything but a man. I'm going to treat you like that. And if you're a woman, I'm going to treat you like a woman. But if you're a man, you're going to be treated like a man, not a pussy. Because that's how it's got to be. You've got to be pushed out of your comfort zone so you become the best version of you. And you've got to be taught how to sell, how to market. So many people, oh, I don't want to be seen as pushy. I don't want to be seen as salesy. I don't want to reek of commission breath. No. You've got to understand that sales is an act of love. Don't think of it as selling. Think of it as service. Nobody wants to be sold. Greg, you don't want to be sold. I don't want to be sold. But you love to be served. Yep. You love to be served. Someone serves you from where you are to where you want to be. You're going to love them forever. Then that's what you need to do. That's step number one. Step number two, you've got to have a dialed-in message. You've got to be a thought leader. I want to make you the Patrick Bet-David of your world. And I've helped dozens of people do that. And I'll tell you a story. Good old Perry Wong. Perry's doing good. Perry's doing great. But nobody knows him outside of the world of combined insurance. So we write this book. Now Perry's going on a podcast tear. And he's getting great folks like you to know him. And that's how the word goes out about what he does. And that's how he's going to be able to attract more people to work with him. That's the power of thought leadership. That's the power of being known for something. Expert is someone who knows something. A thought leader is someone who's known for knowing something. Nicky B makes you a thought leader, adds a 0 to 2 zeros to your annual income. Nutshell, that's me. That's who I am. That's what I'm all about. And I also lack energy, and I'm like this wussy kind of dude.
I was actually, when you were going to finish, I was like, damn, I'm digging your energy right now. Like, you're speaking my language right now. I like this.
Damn straight, man. Damn straight. I'm going to make you a billionaire. I'll tell you what, we're going to make you a billionaire. Let's go, baby. Yeah. So, this book, How to Make $1 Million a Year Income. What do you have to do? Well, first and foremost, you have to make a decision. The qualities of the successful is first, they're decisive.
Yep.
What does the word decision mean? It means to kill off the alternative. To decide is to kill off the alternative.
Yep.
Right? So what else has side at the root of it? Other words are homicide, suicide, genocide, all about killing. Decision means killing off the alternative. I'm going to tell you a story. Who's the greatest personal development author of all time?
Tony Robbins?
Napoleon Hill.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. That's good.
150 million copies sold. Tony sold a few, but he ate in Napoleon's league, man. My dad's first name was Napoleon, by the way, so I got a soft spot for Napoleon Hill. But before Napoleon Hill became Napoleon Hill, he was a journalist. This was before journalists were propaganda people, when they were real people. They were trying to help the world by giving them information.
Yeah.
His editor goes, you're going to go interview the richest man in the world, Andrew Carnegie. Now, Greg, I don't know about you, but if my boss, if I was working for somebody, said to me, I'd like you to go meet the richest man in the world, I'm running until I get there. So he goes, he interviews him. It goes great. At the end of the interview, Andrew Carnegie says, Mr. Hill, how would you like to spend the weekend in my estate? I wish to talk with you further. Now, Greg, I don't know about you, but if the richest man in the world came to me and said to me, Mr. Billou, how would you like to spend the weekend at my estate? I'm calling my sweetheart. I'm saying, baby, honey, sweetie, I'm afraid I can't be home this weekend. Take care of the kids. I'm going to be with the richest man in the world.
Yeah.
Click.
I'm going to be late.
That's it, baby.
I'll stay up.
You know what she'd say? Ask him if he'd rather have me there instead. I'm just kidding. That's great. You know, so they spend the weekend together. It was magic. At the end of it all, Andrew Carnegie goes to him and goes, Mr. Hill, I have a proposition for you, sir. He said, okay, what is it? What is it? How would you like to spend the next 20 years of your life? Writing about my philosophy of success. I will not pay you a stipend, but what I will do is I'll give you letters of introduction to the 500 richest and most successful men and women in these here United States. Greg Birch It took him 31 seconds to say yes. And the rest is history. He did the research. He met the people. He wrote the book. Greatest personal development book of all time. Biggest seller. 20 years goes by, and he meets the great man one last time before he passes. They're reminiscing, and Mr. Carnegie looks at him and says, Mr. Hill, I need to tell you something. All those years ago, when I made that offer to you, I had this here watch. It was one of those big old-fashioned ornate, watches that fit in your hand, right? Well, the second he said, I was looking at it under my table. I'd given you 60 seconds to make up your mind. And if you had not made up your mind in 60 seconds, I was going to pull the offer. And he's like, but why? He said, why indeed? You've been studying my philosophy of success. Why indeed? And he said, okay. Successful people are decisive people that make decisions quickly. Yes. He said, I approached 4 other educators before you. All of them said, I'll get back to you. No, only 2 did, and they said no. And I knew they were the wrong people. The successful gather the facts fast, decide fast, and act fast. Decisive. You got to make a decision. I want to make $1 million a year. You listen to this. You want to make $1 million a year? What's wrong with you? What are you waiting for? Make that decision now.
Yep.
Right, Greg? Make that
I absolutely agree.
100%. So first, you got to be decisive.
Which, by the way, if you haven't read Think and Grow Rich, and you're listening to this podcast, you need to go get that book and start reading it right away. Fantastic book.
Phenomenal book. Incredible book. Love that book.
Yeah.
So you've made a decision. Now that decision needs to be followed with commitment. Commitment. You cannot say, I'm going to try this for a day, a week, a month, a year. No, I'm in it to win it. Every master was once a disaster. You got to be willing to suck before you're bad, before you're mediocre, before you're average, before you're okay, before you're decent, before you're good, before you're great, before you're masterful, before you're iconic, before you're the best that ever was. That's commitment. Don't be a tire kicker. Don't be a dabbler. Only commit and commit to win. Next, you've got to be coachable. You ain't getting this done by yourself. Who you are is good enough to get you to where you're at. It is not good enough to get you to where you want to be. Write this down, everybody. Who I am is good enough to get me to where I'm at. It is not good enough to get me to where I want to be. Now, Greg, why did I say that? See, I'm turning the tables on you. I'm interviewing you for a sec. Why did I say that?
I mean, it's obvious because we are today, we are the byproduct of our previous decision. So who we are today is because of decisions we made in the past 6 months, 100 days, freaking 6 years. That's why we're here. However, anytime when you decide to make a decision, you literally become that new person. It starts you on a new path. So you're going to become, your future self is going to become based on the decisions that you make now. It will produce the result that you're looking for. So you have to become the person.
But let me just get the question back to you.
Yeah.
Why do I say who you are today is insufficient to get you to where you want to be tomorrow?
Because we would already be there.
Hey, that's it, brother. That's it.
Yeah.
And if what you know today was enough to get you here, you need to know different things to get you to where you want to be tomorrow.
What got you here won't get you there.
No, it won't. That's why you need coaches. The great Robin Sharma, who was a client of mine when I was a fitness dude, said to me, author of The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, sold 15 million copies, said to me, Nicky, you want to double your income, triple your investment in personal and professional development. Hire the coaches, join the masterminds, attend the conferences, do the courses, read the books. Triple your investment. You spent 10 grand last year, spend 30 this year. You spent 30 last year, spend 90 this year. You will not do it on your own.
Nope.
You won't.
Absolutely.
No way, no how. No way, no how. Fourth, you got to get resourceful. Why? Tony Robbins said it doesn't matter what level of resources you have. What matters is how resourceful are you? How resourceful are you? I'll tell you my personal story. A little over 10 years ago, my then wife, seemingly out of the blue, said, Nicky, we're done. Kicked me out of the house. I didn't see it coming. Maybe I should have, but I didn't. I spiraled, sleeping on my mom's couch. Ain't making any money, can't provide for my kids. A friend of mine buys me a ticket to go to a conference. I see a man do a talk. It spoke to my soul. As soon as his talk was over, I leapt out of my chair and rushed the stage. I wanted to make sure I got to him first. I stuck in my hand and said, I'm Nicky Billou. Here's my story. I told him my story. And at the end of that, I said, I think I need to hire you. Now, I was scared, shaking. Who's this dude and who am I, right? He looks at me and he goes, no problem. But you need to know, my minimum fee is $5,000 for 5 hours of my time. I require payment in advance and in full. I offer no guarantees and no refunds. You still want to hire me, son? I'm like, whoa. I don't have that kind of money, man. He said, I'm going to give you some free coaching. I'm like, free coaching? I love free coaching. Give me some free coaching. He said, it doesn't matter how much money you have. I go, it doesn't? I thought that's all that mattered because you want $5,000 from me. Back then, that was a lot of money to me. Not so much today. And he said, son, I don't need you $5,000. I got 20 guys who want to work with me. I don't need you, but you need me. You need what I have to offer you. He was right. I didn't like hearing it, but he was right. And he said, it doesn't matter how much money you have. What matters is, how bad do you want change? I'm like, whoa. He said, you're a grown-ass man, sleeping on his mother's couch, kicked out of the house by his wife, hasn't seen his kids for a while, isn't able to provide for them. How much longer are you willing to put up with this, son? A day? A week? A month? A year? A lifetime? Boom. Greg, I said, give me a couple days. I was a fitness trainer back then. I ran home. Urgency. Called a couple peeps. I said, hey, listen. I got good news. You're fat and you need to lose weight. And if you don't, you're going to have an existential health event come down the road for you. I'm broke and I need money. If I don't get money, I'm not going to be able to take care of my kids or see them. So I'm going to give you the deal of a lifetime, half price. What do you say? Here's the catch. You got to say yes now. You got to pay in full now. What's up? Two guys said yes. I got $1,000 each off them. I'm pleased as punch. I run off to go see Buddy. Drop down $2,000 on the desk. And he looks at me. He looks at the money. He says, that's great. But I said 5, not 2. I'm like, oh. I said, Buddy, how many people have you told this story to that you told me? He said, over the years, maybe 30, 40. I go, wow, that many, huh? He goes, yeah. So besides me, who else came back with any money? He said, oh, buddy, that's easy. You're the first. I am the first? You're the first. The first. He goes, the first. And I'm like, then take my money and I'll sign a contract saying I'll pay the rest of this off within 30, 60 days, whatever the case may be. He agreed. Within 6 months, I made 6 figures. I paid him off early. How bad do you want change? So you listen to this, insurance agents. How bad do you want change? You made the decision. You made the commitment. You're going to get coachable. You're going to get resourceful. How bad do you want change? You got to get acquainted with the reality of your situation. You can't be building a fairy tale. You got to be really, really clear that your focus is on winning as an insurance agent. Not losing, but winning. And you have got to be focused on the right things. In insurance, like in most sales-related jobs, you got 2 things that you need to focus on. Everything else is horse manure. What do you need to focus on? Meeting people. Meeting people. Second thing is finding out if you can help them, if they need your service, if they need insurance, and offering to help them get insurance through you. Meeting people,
That's it.
finding out if they need help and insurance, and they're willing to get it through you. Everything else is horse manure. I got to check my email. Nope. I got to check my cell phone. Nope. I need to do my reading during prospecting time. Nope. Do your reading, but before prospecting time.
Or after.
Nope, or after, whatever. You've got to understand what you got to do. And then you got to have a high vibration frequency. You cannot get up in the morning and be thinking I'm defeated. It's never going to work. I'm an imposter. No, you got to play some good music. Get yourself pumped up. I tell you what I'm going to play. I'm going to do this for you just so you understand how important and powerful this is. All right? Have a listen here.
Yeah.
Good. So you get up, you dance, you just yeah. You get up, you do the Rocky dance, and then you pick up the phone and you start making calls. That's what you do. And you feel crappy again. Press play again. That's how it's done, bro. That's how it's done. If you feel crappy, get an accountability buddy, hire your coach, make it happen. That is the key to victory. Mic drop.
I like to talk about the vibrational frequency as well. Because here's the thing is that and I see this all the time. So when I was in the field as a young insurance agent and I was making dials and I hated it like every other insurance agent ever, I found that before I did my dials, I would stand in the mirror. I'd print out my leads old school because I like the paper. I'd hold them with one hand. I'd stand in the Superman pose because I heard that would raise your testosterone levels.
Nice.
And for 5 minutes, I'd hold the leads and I'd stare myself in the mirror and I'd say, I am going to help all these clients. I'm the best insurance advisor to help these people. Everyone is going to set an appointment with me. I am the best insurance advisor out there. And I would just say that for 5 minutes straight. But what it did was it literally like raised my energy level. So I get on the phone and I would be super like intentional and I would smile and I would be way better on the phones. More people answered. And when they did answer, they would be like, it was just like they were ready to talk. And I didn't get a bunch of hangups, right? And it was because of my vibrational frequency. Like I was attracting that when I was doing my dials. And I found when I started getting used to doing dials and I just rushed into it and I didn't do that, guess what? I'd have a bad dial session. And I'd be like, man, no one's answered today. Or like, man, I'm getting a lot of hangups. And then I'd be like, oh shit, I didn't do my thing. Like, well, got to do it. Right. And so I tell agents that I do that all the time. And I don't even know if they do it or not, but I'm like, I'm not kidding. I did that. Like, and I highly recommend you do it. I highly recommend doing something that raises your energy levels so that when you get on the phone, you're just like, let's go. Right. You know, whether I think, you know, from my experience that I've been with coaching agents that I've done in the past few years is that they're like, yeah, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do dials. And then they have this like negative context and they're like, well, no one's answering. And like, it's keeping getting people hanging up on me and this, that, the other, and just like down. And they don't realize that they're taking that negative energy from call to call to call to call, instead of raising their energy level, changing their state, changing their vibrational frequency, and then getting back on the phones in a positive way, how much that actually impacts their ability to set better appointments, set more appointments, be able to sit in front of more clients.
Boom. You've got to raise your vibe. Clients are going to feel it. If they feel a good vibe, they're going to be excited to work with you.
Yep.
Listen, I got on this podcast with you and you agreed to have me on because I wrote you a high energy letter saying, Greg, man, you got a great show. I'm a great guest. Here's what I'll do for you. And you're like, okay, All right, let's have him on. And I come on this show for 3 reasons. I go on every show for 3 reasons. Okay, because I go on shows and I get business. I've made $330,000 in sales since June 1st of last year being a guest on people's shows. And here's how I do it. Number one, I go on shows to uplift the people because there's people that are feeling crappy right now with all the crap that's going on in the world, you know? Recession, inflation, pandemic, lockdowns, blah, 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 blah. You need to uplift the people. So I do that. Secondly, I want Greg Birch to leave this interview going, damn, that is the greatest podcast guest I've ever had. I want you to be like buzzing. I want you to talk to your wife and go, sweetie, you wouldn't believe this crazy dude I had on the show today. You got to listen to this. Tell me what you think. And I want to leave you feeling buzzed and good. And thirdly, man, I do business with people I know, like, and trust. People do business with me because they know, like, and trust me.
Yep.
Podcasting, going on the shows run by business owners is how I get past your gatekeeper and I get a meeting with you and you get to know, like, and trust me, and vice versa. You would never have gotten to meet me without this. I would never have gotten to meet you without this. Maybe we'll do business one day, maybe we won't. But you know how I grow my business? I meet people. I call people. I have conversations that just what I told you. This is a big part of my job. And if you and I get a good vibe, and when the show's over, I spend a couple minutes. So, hey, Greg, tell me a little bit more about what you do, blah, blah, blah. And maybe there'll be a reason for us to have a conversation. You follow what I'm saying? That's why I go on shows. Most people go on shows like, oh, I just want to tell my message. Oh, I just want to just have people hear me. I got to get some exposure. Horse manure. What the hell is exposure? You want to build relationships with people.
Yeah.
You want to uplift the people. You want to build relationships with business owners. That's why you go and you do stuff like this. I've done 275 interviews. 220 of those people are people that I am honored to have gotten to know and put into my network of people that I know. And I've done business with 15 of them. And let me tell you something. That is my objective. That is why I go on shows. Why do you go on shows if you go on shows? Do you go on shows to look good, to like post on social media and just say, look at me, look how great it was, look at this clip of me. You're an idiot. You should go on those shows to build relationships, create business. Greg Birch should be a billionaire. I told him that at the beginning. If he's going to be a billionaire, if I'm going to possibly be part of that journey, we got to build a relationship. That's the only way it's ever going to work. And if you're an insurance agent and you don't have a podcast, you're an idiot. Get a podcast.
Yeah.
Having a podcast and talking to clients. Maybe people don't want to talk to you on a phone and think it's a cold call, but I bet you if you had a podcast, you could get a lot of people on your show.
Yeah.
And I bet you could do business with a bunch of those people. And if you don't know how and you want to learn how, I'll teach you. But that's what you got to do. You've got to be thinking this is an opportunity to build presence, build relationships, build connections. Because that's how you do business, man. All this newfangled crap about go on social media, become seen and all that. Yeah, that's all well and good, but that's a bunch of horse manure. It doesn't really work. Most people who do that make $0.00. They rent their followers. They rent their followers. I got 1 million followers. How much money did you make last month? 30 cents. What'd you say about 30 cents? Come on, dude. Give me a break, man. I got under 1,000 followers, but I do 6-figure months with regularity. That's all I got to say.
I love that. I love it. Dude, I love your energy, man.
And mic drop number 2, bro.
Yeah. Dude, your energy, it's contagious. And honestly, like everything, like everything you're saying, this is stuff that I've said in the podcast multiple times, or I've even said to my agents in Delta, is all the same things. Hey, you got to make a decision. You got to commit, like being decisive and like, hey, I'm very much of a Patton fan, right? I read Patton's autobiography.
I love the movie, and I've read 2 of his biographies. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, dude. I was an armor.
Son of a gun every day. So you're in insurance, and you love Patton, man. Dude, you're the man.
I was an armor officer in the Army. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I was in tanks. Yeah. So when I got armor as my as my branch.
Yeah, I was looking at
One of my cadre members
George.
bought me Patton's autobiography, and his whole mantra of like, hey, a 70% solution executed violently is better than 100% solution executed late.
Yep.
And it's so true because people are so what if, and I got to make the perfect plan. And it's just like, dude, I don't care if you make the perfect 100% plan. Something's going to change. You're going to make a mistake. You're going to fail. And then you're going to learn along the way. Just come up with like enough of a solution to be like, hey, we got it. Let's roll. And just do it with so much vigor and violence that you're all in. You're committed. Like that means everything. That means everything.
Everything.
And so I got to talk about the same stuff. Talk about the same exact
Insurance
stuff.
agents today need to get on the phone, need to make calls, need to meet people, need to be creating a podcast for themselves, need to have a message created for themselves, and they need to write a book. And if you own an insurance company like you got to do all those things at the same time and hire someone like me to be an advisor by your side to help you do that, because that's how you go from 200 agents to 37,000 agents. That's how you go from 2 million valuation to 400 mil. And I'm telling you, that is the way in 2023. It is the way.
Yeah. I actually just finished writing my book. My first book.
Greg, we're going to talk offline. I've co-written 5 books with people, and this latest one that I wrote, The Great Patriot Protest and Boycott book, is with Wayne Allen Root, the Trump of Las Vegas, CEO of a Vegas gambling company, and he's a conservative radio talk show host. I've done 5 of these, brother. Let's talk. I'll get your book out in 60 days or less. Boom.
Really? I've been looking at publishers. I said I've been looking at publishers.
Do I mess with you, bro? Do I strike you as the kind of man?
You do not. You do not. You seem like someone that
idle boasts.
You seem like someone that knows what he's talking about. So
Perry and I, 37,000 word book. Okay, that's a serious book. Yeah. We got this done. We wrote it in 32 days. Now it took us another 60 to work out all the kinks because he's a persnickety fellow. But the initial writing was 32 days. Boom. That's how it can be. That's how fast it can be. The message was good. The idea was good. The rest is we get on a Zoom call together. You talk, I type. That's it. And I send them to you and you review them. Okay, I like this. I don't like this. I fix that. Boom, boom, boom. Done. And then it's done. It's put to bed. It's put to bed. The first thing you do is we need to come up with the chapter titles. The chapter titles are important. You need 12 chapters. Introduction, 12 chapters, conclusion. 36,000 to 45,000 words. Don't go below 36,000 because it doesn't look like you're talking about anything substantial. You go above 45,000, people won't read it. It's just, sorry, but that's a fact.
Yeah. I think I'm at 32,000, so I'm just shy.
Are you serious? You're that far ahead? Then let me help you get it through the finish line, brother. I'm happy to do that for you.
I'm at 32,000. Someone else told me I started talking to publishers at the beginning of the year, and they were like, 32,000 is like, you could do it. It's a little short. We recommend adding like at least like 8,000 more words. And so I was like, all right, well,
40,000 is a sweet spot.
I think I have 18 chapters.
That's a lot.
But they're a little shorter. So it's like I split it up into pillars. I did 3 different sections.
Okay, that's cool.
And each section's got like 6 chapters.
Yeah. So this political book I wrote has 37, 38 chapters, but only 6 sections because the chapters are like, they're about a particular theme. So that can work too.
They're all about a particular theme. Each one of the sections is like a pillar. Yeah.
But brother, this was like 66,000 words. This is a big tome of a book. Yeah. You don't need that much. 40,000 is perfect.
So I need to jump back in and get those other 8,000. I was writing like 1,500 words a day.
So here's how I do it with my clients. We do a minimum 500 a day. You're not allowed to let your head hit the pillow until you've done 500 words. Yeah. You'll almost always do more, but that's your baseline, 500 words a day.
Yeah, my baseline was 1,000, but I ended up doing it usually about 1,500. And I did it in like 2 weeks, like 3 weeks.
Okay, so there you go. You got a good book. Yeah. You got a good book. Anyways, here's the thing. We can talk about that more of that offline and all that.
We're just serious and shoot the shit.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. but you got 32,000 words done. The rest is good. Let's look at it and make sure it's pushing your message out the right way, because I think that's important to do too. But you get your book out, and then you start pushing the hell out of that thing, man, with everything you do. You get people to have that book. You get your agents to give copies of that book to like important partners and clients. Boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
It's more of like an agent focused book. It's my agent story, basically.
If it's your agent story, then you get your agents to give it to all their buddies. You go do talks and you start handing it out or selling it. And you shouldn't care which one you do. It doesn't matter. You can print it for $5-6 a book. You're going to be fine. If you hand out 1,000 books to 1,000 agents, you've done good. You've done good. That's a great recruiting tool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, well, Nicky, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast, brother. If anyone wants to, after your fantastic rendition of breaking down the Millionaire book, or they just want to learn more from you, or are they interested in your coaching, what's the best place to connect with you on?
Okay, so if you want the book, go to Amazon. Okay, and I'll just put it up again just so you can see, what the book looks like. It'd be easier for you to grab it. How to Create a $1 Million a Year Income. Okay,
yeah, How to Create a $1 Million a Year Income by Nicky Billou, and check it out. For everyone that's listening on the podcast, on the Apple Podcast or Spotify, and the audio versions only.
Yeah, 100%. So that's number one. But if you're like wanting to take your sales, your business to another level, I offer something called a success coaching call. And what you do is simple. You go to eCircleacademy.com/appointment, and you pick a time, and then you fill out an application. And the application is for this. I want you to answer at the bottom of the application after all the questions. I want you to write down, I want change bad. And if that's your answer, then we get to have a call. If you don't want change bad, don't bother getting on a phone call with me. That's all I got to say.
I love it. Last question I have for all my guests, Nicky, is you have the opportunity to sit with, break bread with, learn from, and talk to 3 individuals, anyone in history, living or deceased. Who would those 3 be and why?
Elon Musk.
Ooh, yeah, he's going.
Smartest, richest man in the world. And somebody who's got big brass balls. He's doing things because he believes them to be right. He's lost money by doing some of the things he's done, but what he's doing is good for humanity. So Elon Musk, number one. I think I can help Elon Musk make Twitter profitable. I got an idea for him that he hasn't thought of himself. So Elon, if you're listening, nice talk. Secondly, Ronald Reagan, favorite president of all time for me. Ronald Reagan, the man who defeated godless communism and helped bring freedom to over 500 million people around the world. I just want to shake his hand and thank him for bringing freedom to 500 million people around the world. Okay.
Here's a good one too.
Yeah. And then I would want to meet Cyrus the Great. I'm Iranian, and he was the first great Persian king. And he was also the first ruler to actually codify human rights in the history of the world. And I want to just, again, shake his hand and say, wow, you're a great conqueror. You built the biggest empire in the world at the time, but you were also a great man and a great humanitarian. You realized that every human being had dignity and worth, and you codified it in the law. So those are 3 men that I would want to meet.
I love it. Thank you so much, Nicky, for jumping on the podcast. If you're watching till now, then I know that you got value out of this. So do me a favor, like, share, put this content out there. We ask you a favor, Nicky and I both. We want you to be able to share this content with somebody else that can also get value from it, because you may make an impact in their world. It takes you 30, 60 seconds, and that's it, but it means the world to us. So this has been the Be the Difference podcast. I'm your host, Greg Birch. Until next time, we'll see you.